Hey everyone, welcome to our webinar on supercharging your HubSpot campaigns with the Socedo HubSpot integration. My name is JC and I am a content marketing manager at Socedo. And here with me I have Adam Hutchinson, who heads up our demand generation efforts and is an expert in HubSpot.
Hey everyone.
Hey. So today we're really excited to share with you how Socedo integrates with HubSpot so that you can follow up with your social leads and track how these leads move through your pipeline. So with social activities data provided by Socedo, you can easily go into HubSpot to build email campaigns, nurture programs, and other marketing workflows to engage with your social leads. So for the purpose of this webinar, we're going to assume you have already connected your HubSpot account with Socedo. If you haven't done that, you can find instructions on our website. But let's just assume you have already done that step of connecting the accounts. We really want to focus on kind of showing you how you can customize your HubSpot settings to sync different types of leads into HubSpot. And then we'll walk you through the reporting section of Socedo to see what kind of key metrics you can see regarding your HubSpot leads. Then we'll dive into HubSpot itself to show you where you can find additional information about your existing leads from Socedo and how you can use this kind of information to spin up new campaigns, to nurture leads, to do lead scoring, and to do other types of real-time marketing workflows. All right, Adam.
Okay, thanks, JC. I'm super excited to be part of this webinar today. You know, as the demand gen manager at Socedo, I get really excited about using our data throughout the demand gen pipeline and really accelerating those leads, and that's what we've built here at Socedo. So if you look here actually in a Socedo account, this account is connected here to HubSpot. And you know, there's a couple of settings that we can actually choose how we want our Socedo data to flow into our HubSpot account. So first, you know, we can choose just all leads that we've approved in our prospect discovery bucket. So this would be, you know, regardless of whether they followed us or we followed them, anyone who we decided was a qualified lead and we hit the approve button on, we could export into HubSpot because we think they're going to be a good fit. In this case, and in most customers' cases, we export only the followers, so only the people who we followed and then they followed our account on Twitter. We're going to export them because they've already engaged with our handle. They've already expressed a little bit of interest, so we want to follow up with them. HubSpot leads in particular, we only export leads that have email addresses into HubSpot. That is a HubSpot system requirement. Now we have about a 50% match rate from a Twitter handle to an email address. So if you think about all the people who followed you back, about 50% of them will be exporting into HubSpot on a daily basis for you. We also do have an additional filter around you know, different levels of verified email addresses. We only export verified email addresses, but you know, you can filter down even further based on different verification levels, and you can simply talk with us, with our team, about enabling some of those other features. Finally, when new leads are synced into HubSpot and we find an existing lead already in there, we can either create a new lead and just, you know, create a duplicate lead in the HubSpot record, or we can create new or update those existing records. After we've chosen how we want our data to actually flow into HubSpot, you know, all of this data, you know, leads are going to start syncing in and all this data is coming with them. So, you know, there's the typical ones like first name and last name, and of course their email addresses and, you know, all their Twitter info. But then we're also going to send over enhanced data. So what actions did they actually take on Twitter? Did they respond to your DM? Did they click your DM? As well as their company info. Where do they work? What's their job title? Where are they located? You know, we can even get stuff down to like what's their clout score and what's their Facebook URL. Pretty much any data you might want to qualify your leads and nurture them, we can export into your HubSpot database. Once these leads are flowing into HubSpot and you're actively working with them, Socedo actually allows you to see how well leads are flowing through your HubSpot pipeline. And so first here, if we just look at in the past month, this account specifically has exported 110 leads from Socedo into HubSpot. And out of those, they've contacted almost all of them. And these last 6 are probably new leads that still need to be emailed, or maybe one of our workflows hasn't picked them up yet. From here, we can actually see the funnel of those email actions. So these are all the emails that have been sent, including our welcome emails, any of our follow-up nurturing emails, some of our email blasts, any email that has hit one of our Socedo leads. You can see how many actually went out, what our open rates are, and what our click-through rates are. Then we can actually see their lead lifecycle stages. These are the preset HubSpot lifecycle stages that we can track based on Socedo leads in particular. So this is since the beginning of time, once we started this integration on this account with HubSpot, this is how many leads we put into HubSpot, how many have become MQLs, SQLs, so on. And this is a fairly new account, so you'll see just a few down here, but we can see all the way down to how many become customers. We've already had 3 Socedo leads from the top of the funnel convert into customers, proving ROI right here in the dashboard. Now, if we jump into HubSpot, we can actually see our leads. So under contacts, if you look at lists, you can create a new list to just see your Socedo leads. Whenever a Socedo lead comes into HubSpot, it's entered with its Socedo lead stage. So all you have to do to see your Socedo leads actually is any lead that has a Socedo lead stage came from Socedo. And the Socedo lead stages are basically our engagement stages from Socedo. So, followed or followed back. Did you send them a DM? Did they respond to your DM? Did they click that link? And ultimately, did they convert on your landing page if you've installed the tracking pixel? So we could filter down further based on where someone is in their social media demand gen pipeline. Or we could just look at all of our Socedo leads here and pull up this list. Now if I drill down into one of these, I can actually see that those Socedo activities are added to this leads activity log as notes. So we see here on March 10th, Zachary here followed Dan West on Twitter. Dan's one of our employees here at Socedo. And then later that day, he actually clicked on the DM link, which is a really good sign. That meant he was interested in the content that Dan was promoting in his direct message. And then, of course, if Zach had ended up converting on the page, or he still had time, maybe he still will, then that conversion action would show up in this activity log as well.
So Adam, given that this is someone who has, clicked on a DM link, what would you suggest, like what, you can do from to follow up with this person?
Yeah, good question. So because we're adding all of these steps in here, we can do both lead scoring and lead nurturing from it. So the first one we want to do actually is lead scoring, because we know that socially engaged leads move faster through the demand gen pipeline. And in fact, they move about 25% faster through the pipeline. And there's a great study on this where we've published our results on the Socedo blog. And so because we know Socedo leads move faster, we want to score them higher, so that way we can get them to sales as quickly as possible. You see here, just like based on Zachary's example, he followed back one of our handles on Twitter, so his lead stage was followed back. So we increased his lead score by 2 points. And then he actually clicked that link, so we increased his lead score by 5 points. To us here, a link click is equivalent to an email link click, is the same as a Twitter link click. It doesn't really matter where it is. Someone's interested in that content and they want to learn more. So we increase that by 5 points when someone clicks that DM link. Now outside of scoring, we can actually follow up with these leads. So here's just a sample workflow here that we have built out. And so I've already scored, increased their lead score. But for someone who follows me back, anyone who I import into HubSpot who followed me back on Twitter, I know they're interested, so I want to send them an email. And I usually send that email the day after they've followed me back and I've synced them into HubSpot. We found that, sending that first email a day later helps it from being, sounding too automated. Doesn't happen right away in their inbox, but it's still within a day, so it's still top of mind for them, and it's still relevant content. And within this email needs to be very personal and relevant and helpful. So I usually recommend a plain text email that just says, hey, thanks for connecting with me on Twitter. I wanted to share this additional resource with you. So if your direct message is promoting something like a promotional offer or a free demo, your email might just be an ebook or an on-demand webinar that they can watch.
And you can also even use, what they tweeted, right, that caught the keyword you set up to target them. So you can even use that tweet itself to craft a relevant email.
That's exactly right? So Socedo is always tracking based off of those keywords, and we know which tweet actually pulled them into our system. So we know what keyword they found interesting enough to become a lead for us. And so we could segment off of that and say, like, if I'm tracking content marketing keywords and Zachary comes into my database because of my Socedo account that's targeting content marketing, then obviously the offer here should be relevant to him. So maybe it's an ebook on how to do successful content marketing or something like that. It's a good point. And from there, I want to obviously continue to nurture them because, very few people will convert on the first touch. A few might convert on the second touch, but really it's the third and the fourth and the fifth touch that gets people to raise their hands and express interest that they're ready for a sales conversation. And so I want to continue to send them emails about what they're interested in. So like in the same example, I want to send them through a whole nurture track on content marketing specific information. So maybe it's, my 10 great tips to content marketing blog post. Maybe it's, a new webinar that I'm doing with a content marketing influencer. And then I can always listen for, whether another action happens down the road. So if, Zachary clicks on another one of my direct message links, I know that maybe he's really interested now. And so where my content might start at the top of the funnel with very educational resources that are broad and relevant to everyone, now that I know that Zachary's super interested in the exact content that I have to offer, I'm going to move him down to the bottom of the funnel where I have product-specific information. These might be white papers about how my product works. It might be demo videos. It might be, it might even be like reach out for a time, set up a call with us to learn more, a consultative call. It could be anything, really rich content at the bottom of the funnel, maybe some more case studies or something like that. But I want to continue nurturing them through our work streams in HubSpot. And so the nice thing here, what we've been able to kind of look through today is that when we sync our social data into HubSpot, we make the demand gen pipeline that much longer. So now it doesn't just start and stop on Twitter. What we can keep doing is nurturing our leads, scoring our leads, and accelerating them faster down the funnel until they're ready for sales. JC, do you have anything you want to add?
Those are all really great points, Adam. Yeah, I just want to add that, with Socedo, you can track, obviously, people who follow your brand, but in addition, you can also track any sort of relevant keywords to your business, right? And see people who engage with those keywords as warm leads and follow up with them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, a couple of good examples are, if you're tracking one of your competitors, that might be a good indicator that someone's interested in your solution as well. And so you can track those types of keywords and put them in a very specific workflow around differentiation between you and your competitors. You can track event hashtags and find people who are going to events relevant to your industry and send them, some of your own content from those events. And really anything is possible. And the idea here is with social media, we're talking about real-time activities. And so we can really find out what people are interested in right now and send them the most relevant content to increase conversion rates and get them through the funnel. And so really through these emails actually that we're talking about here, our average open rate is 44% and our average click-through rate is 6%. And that's, double, sometimes triple what you'll traditionally find in the industry best practices. And that's because these social leads are already warm, they've already engaged with you, and also we're talking to them in real time about the interests we know. So if you're not following up with your social media leads in HubSpot, now's the time to start. So you can go and talk to us about maybe building out one of these initial workflows for your business. Well, thanks for joining us for this little overview of the Socedo and HubSpot integration. Feel free to reach out to our team if you have any questions, and JC and I are always happy to talk with you further about some of our marketing ideas.